Welcome to another episode of the Nocturnal Movie Club. I am your host, OJ Williams. I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, Jay King, Ethan Singh, and Justin Rodriguez. Welcome to another episode, guys. We are discussing WandaVision episode 5. Can you believe it already?
I can't believe it.
It's moving pretty fast.
I
Mid-season
know.
already.
Yeah.
A lot went down this episode, like a whole hell of a lot. Ethan, break it down for us, please.
I gotcha. And if anything comes up you guys want to go on, just stop me at any time. So this episode, we get our 90s intro finally. We're breaking into some real classic sitcoms from our era. And we have Wanda and Vision opening up, trying to nurse their newborn babies to sleep, picking off where kind of episode 3 left us off. And interestingly enough, this episode does not wait to start throwing punches. Agnes walks in and tries to do her usual neighborly charm and try to get the babies to sleep, but Vision is reluctant to let her do so, which does not go according to plan, causing Agnes to break character and speak to Wanda like she's the director, asking her, "What do we do next?" Events progress. Eventually, Wanda tries to bring everything back to normal, but Vision is not convinced. The babies magically grow up, age themselves up from literal babies to 5 years of age, and then we quickly join Sword and the FBI, trying to paint Wanda as a terrorist, with the director of Sword trying to make her look like a terrorist, while Jimmy from the FBI is trying to make her look not that evil. We find out Wanda has in fact stolen Vision's body, like we predicted last episode, and we are unsure if he's alive or has been reanimated. The kids get a dog, and they age themselves up again to the age of 10. Monica, Jimmy, and Darcy back at Sword headquarters are attempting to figure out a way to pierce the hex and try to get back into Wanda's reality. And Monica starts to get a little bit touchy when Captain Marvel is brought up. We go back to Vision. Vision is talking with his coworkers at the workplace, and Vision starts to see the reality unravel and brings his coworker Norm out of the illusion. And we quickly see for a moment that something is awry and that she, a woman, is behind it all, perhaps Wanda. Vision is now completely convinced Wanda is behind it all, and he's very upset. As he makes his way back home, some stuff goes on back by Wanda's. A Sword sends in a drone to try to tell Wanda to stop it, which fails drastically. Wanda leaves her own reality, confronts Sword, tells him to stop, and in a pure show of force, shows them how powerful she really is and that they are no match. She goes back to her reality only to find that the kid's brand new dog, Sparky, is now dead. Vision walks in, comforts the kids, and we conclude with our final, most drastic scene. Vision and Wanda argue in a very tense moment, broken up with a comedic ending with a recast of her own brother walking in through the door. Pretty crazy episode, though, guys. What did you think?
Jake, kick us off. What did you think?
I really liked a lot of what happened in this episode, and especially since like 90s, 80s sitcoms are more fresher in my head than things like Bewitched. Like I started to notice how much they played around with the tropes this time around, like how you're almost kind of waiting for the laughter to stop, when the laughter will come in, when it will be awkward, like especially when Agnes Brate's character, and they treat it like a comedic moments. There was just like so much that happened in this episode that I really appreciated from a creative standpoint.
Especially like in those 90s sitcoms and 80s sitcoms for so long back in the 60s and 70s, they were, very light stuff. And then during the 80s, they started to take on more serious subjects like drug addiction and death. So I think that was also reverberated within the death of the dog and giving you those life lessons.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that it definitely picked up fast and quick.
Even back to that same scene with the dog, I kind of like the dissonance that was kind of created, because in those era of sitcoms, they always try to shoehorn in a lesson to be like, oh, and that's why you ought to never do drugs, kid, or that's why you ought to never do this, or not to lie or something. And Wanda keeps trying to push that moment in, but the fact that she is a superhuman and these same rules of humanity do not apply to her starts to show why a sitcom doesn't exactly fit her lifestyle. There's that moment where Agnes is like, you could just bring him back to life. Is that something you can do? I don't know, but that was the moment where it kind of changed.
She's actually it was a good moment because she's not dealing with death herself.
Exactly.
With Vision passing, and then her brother at the end, she's not dealing with the exact lesson she's trying to teach her kids.
Exactly.
And then of course, the whole episode, I obsessed with the trio of Monica, Darcy, and Jimmy. I think they're just like the funnest thing ever. They're my new MCU Trinity. Forget Cap, Thor, and Iron Man. Bring me some Monica, and then I think with her rays being off, I think we're definitely getting her some kind of tease to her powers at the end of this show. How could we not? I'm just curious to see as what name they go for, because she's been a few different names in the comics, but I mean they're probably gonna go with Photon, which is what her mother's code name was.
Probably. Yeah,
wasn't she originally Captain Marvel? Or wasn't she Captain Marvel before Carol was?
She was named as Captain Marvel before Carol, which is ironic.
Yeah.
And we do get a hint in this episode that she's got superpowers, because when they first wake her up and do the scan, her body's literally light. There's like there's no X-ray or anything like that. It's just light. Which
is where her superpowers are in the comics.
Yep.
And Captain Marvel, the photon, it's all connected. All freaking connected. Another cool thing in this episode where we got to see so much of the kids. I didn't think we were gonna get that much, like based off all the spoilers. I didn't think we were gonna get that much kid action, honestly. I'm curious to see what age they are by the end of the series. Obviously, as I've been preaching and telling you guys and spoiling, the Young Avengers are coming.
Yeah.
So I figured that by the time the end of the show, they'll be full on young adults.
And the crazy thing I found with the kids is that they're already cognizant of their powers. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when the kids had the dog, one of the boys is like trying to teach the dog to bark or to speak, and he does this with his head and kind of does it telepathically. There's no audio cue.
Oh,
just like Sparky, and he does this, and then the dog barks and responds, and he's like, "Good boy." So it's kind of him already hinting at his telepathic powers.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, I'm a little confused about the power, because one is does magic, and the other is a speedster. Yep. I'm just confused because they keep aging themselves. Like, what is there's a lot of theories here, considering the comic roots being, deeming shards of Mephisto, but we'll see. But I have many questions. And then let's just knock this out the window. Like, let's just get to the meat. Fucking Quicksilver. Oh my God. Ah! Quicksilver. What the fuck? No, we all knew Evan Peters was showing up. But as Quicksilver, though,
that was pretty.
What do we think? One, is he really Quicksilver? Two, is he here to stay? And three, how do we feel about it? Do we miss Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Way more memorable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if you really think about the way the movies have played out, no one ever really talked about Quicksilver in Avengers, but it's kind of he became sort of a staple Quicksilver scene in every X-Men movie.
Joss Whedon kind of dropped the ball in Age of Ultron, the way he handled Quicksilver.
Oh yeah, I love that they also acknowledged she recast her brother.
Oh yeah, I wonder if they're going to explain that next week.
That was the craziest part. The fourth wall breaking was the I don't know. That was the craziest part to me. The boldness and the audacity of Kevin Feige to just say, "Forget it. We bought Fox."
Just recast Quicksilver. Yes, we literally have.
Well, also the fact I could imagine that board meeting goes, all right, everyone else is fired, but you.
Exactly.
Are we getting James McAvoy? Are we getting what's happening here?
And I love how I think it was Darcy that's literally said in the episode they recast Pietro. That's the literal word she used. They recast him. I love that. They're on the same side as us. Marcy, Jimmy, and Monica. They're literally our role. They're doing our job for us, watching it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Something I appreciated about that moment too, because every time I'm watching an episode of WandaVision, I'm thinking of the Truman Show, and there was that point in the Truman Show where he keeps reminiscing about his father, and then to keep him from leaving, from going across the bridge, his father comes back. They end up bringing him back into the show.
What do we think? Do we think he's really Quicksilver? Do we think he's some version of Mephisto here to fuck with Wanda? What do we think? Is he staying around? We at this point we don't know if Vision's gonna make it out of this show. We'll see.
True. A lot of questions he could also be a figment of Agnes's abilities.
I kind of want to take it a step back because I ask this question every week because I'm still not sure the answer. But in the beginning, when Agnes is like, "Should I take that line again?" and throughout the episode, they kind of keep hinting that Wanda's controlling everything. But the more the show goes on, I'm convinced she's not in control of everything. So and because clearly she didn't know her brother was coming back either. That was a shock to her. I do believe that was genuine
Yeah.
surprise. Where do you guys
Well, there's
think?
also that line where he's like the devil's that like it's not everywhere he is. Like it's just kind of like wait.
Yeah. So do you think that's playing a role into how Quicksilver is being brought back in? Because I think that's going to be crucial understanding how this is going to play out.
I mean, she's definitely not in control of everything. Even with that fight with Vision, she's like, "Do you really think I have time to control everybody? And when they walk their dogs and when they drink their coffee, like I can't control everything."
Right.
But I also feel like when she came out of the bubble to go back into the real world, and she's like at the Sword base camp, I think like she wasn't Wanda to me. Like she like her Avengers costume was like dark and it was like not the red we're used to. I think she's being controlled. I still think she's
Her
being
accent
controlled.
back.
Yeah, she got her accent back. Yeah, part of me, although in the comics she like went crazy from this, like the way she went into Sword and stole the body. I just don't think that's Wanda. Like I just don't. Something's telling me it's not all her. That she's definitely being manipulated.
The thing is, I think it exactly because I think it is Wanda doing a lot of it. I think she's driven by grief to do all these things. She's driven by the loss of the only person she really cared about left besides her brother to create this fake world to keep it going. But I do believe there's someone else above it all. But I don't think he's directly controlling her. He may be influencing her or making her illusion a little bit easier to digest. But I don't think she's being directly controlled.
Well, they tell you the devil's right always on your arm, whispering in your ear. Not to get all biblical, but but like even remember, like even Darcy pointed it out. Like Wanda's never been this strong, right? Which is so much fun saying like, oh, Captain Marvel would have took out. She could have took out Thanos. Like something. All the commentary we always discuss between the fanboys was. But my question was like,
Darcy is the living dead boy of the show.
She is.
He's
But I'm like, where's the
dead.
security footage of the fight? Like, how did they know Captain Marvel almost took out Thanos? Like, what? Like, was this being live streamed like all over the planet? Well, a couple plot holes there, but
they read the script.
Exactly.
They actually started the theater.
Yeah, exactly. They were there with us.
Actually,
but like,
they all went to AMC theaters when the snap happened. They just stood there and just watched the entire thing happen.
Oh my gosh.
So many questions about the snap too. But like Darcy mentioned, Wanda's never been this strong. So I feel like whoever's manipulating her is giving her a power boost. Some sort.
Well, I feel like someone also lied to her because there's a scene where when she's confronting, she says, "I'm just taking what was stolen from me," and she looks right at the director.
Yeah,
the director
stole Vision.
That's true. She did steal Vision.
Yeah. So it's that moment of like, why was it so? Because like Kevin Feige doesn't make mistakes. Like even from shots he takes, like there's a reason why you see that particular character get seen the minute she said that. Like, so he's holding some secret that he's not mentioning at all.
Right. Clearly, he's up to no good, taking Vision's body apart and doing whatever with it. And
like I wouldn't put it past if Agnes is involved and Agnes is like sort of pulling the strings as well.
I think so.
Yeah, like I'd look at Agnes's character as sort of like in Sabrina, there's Lilith, but there's also like the Lucifer character. Like there's somebody maybe above.
Yeah, that's such a great comparison. I think Agatha is the Lilith and Mephisto is Lucifer, literally.
Yeah.
So what do you think, OJ? You think the next episode is going to be the Sabrina the Teenage Witch one? And
yeah,
that's going
to I can guarantee you the next episode is definitely Sabrina the Teenage Witch. We're getting the Halloween episode, which I'm super excited about. We're getting, they're in their their Vision and Scarlet Witch Halloween costumes, which is really fun. I'm curious to see if they dress the twins up in their comic book accurate costumes from the comics, which would be really cool.
We got Hulkling somewhere in there.
Oh no, too early for a Hulkling, my dear.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got excited.
I know. Bless our gay dreams. But no, I think, and we already saw Agatha in her witch costume, which is accurate. I think what I'm praying we get is finally the flashbacks to the Salem, which we know they filmed, the Salem trials. And then
Yeah.
Elizabeth Olsen's been teasing some kind of Luke Skywalker level cameo coming up still. Even
Still, that the Pietro wasn't the.
yeah, she's
I
teasing
would
some
assume
kind of she's teasing some Luke Skywalker level cameo. So I'm like, what else? Like, what else can you do at this point? Who else?
We get started. I'm gonna be like, come on, this is too soon. We don't need this right now.
Yeah, like I can't even like
It's soon.
predict at this point like where they can go with this.
Not even you can predict it.
Yeah, not even Feige's not texting me back. I mean, I just can't. I can't even like even at this point. Like the show is so left and weird. Like I just like me.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a show where you really don't know what's coming next. Like I don't think I've guessed one thing that actually occurred. Like
Well, I
things
know
keep
after the
changing.
90s episode, we're getting like the Modern Family episode where they're doing
Got
the like the sit down confessionals, like that kind of stuff. Spoiler alert, sorry.
That meeting you attended with IE, so you knew this. Got it.
Yeah, that part. So that's definitely next, and then there's some big ending CGI battle, of course, to like clap it all off. But
Right.
and then there's been rumors that we might get a Reed Richards tease, or there might be a Hank Pym tease. There's just all kind of rumors. I don't know. We'll see. Or I heard we might get a Doctor Doom tease.
What?
Interesting.
There is no Reed Richards, only Doom.
Right. I don't know. There's a lot to still happen here, and we're more than halfway through it.
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is, like, even if we do get like that big CGI spectacle that you're saying, like as it's starting out right now, I have to commend this show for how bold it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, completely. It's completely out of left field, but the CGI is so well done, and it's just like it. You really don't see what's coming next. Like it's excellent writing. I mean, it's perfectly what you expect from a Marvel show.
For this to be their first show out the gate, I mean, they're coming in swinging as what we expect from the MCU. So I have no doubt. But I'm getting stumped. I don't know where this is going to take us next episode. The Halloween episode, I think, Vision, he can no longer fight. It was interesting when he said he doesn't remember anything in his past life. So I'm just like, when he breaks through that wall, we're going to see dead Vision. Like, I'm going to be like, it's going to be horrific. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
What do you guys think of the character Dee Dee? Do you think she's more important than what she plays off to be?
I think she's one of the witches. I think her and
Hear that? Yeah.
a few of the ladies in the town are the witches, the collective doing Mephisto's bidding, is what I'm predicting.
I can see that.
I'm betting they're gonna come back
What-
next episode because they've been so quiet. They haven't been seen since episode 2.
But what if
Yeah, that's true.
Pietro is Mephisto? What if like Evan Peters is Mephisto coming in as like?
I think that's like an 80% chance.
Based on like your knowledge or based on your employment knowledge of
What was that?
Getting the hot tips live.
We'll see.
OJ's texting right now, Justin, you're fired from Knockturnal Movie
Like,
all my secrets.
yeah, I don't know, but I would say 80% chance Evan Peters is Mephisto.
Still
Pretty
a
good
good chance.
chance.
That was my grade from when I was in college and I got through, so it's B minus
pretty
C student, but I passed. So.
Exactly. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Either Mephisto or maybe Nightmare, which is another sorcerer, magician.
Well, that will tie into Doctor Strange because Nightmare is supposed to be one of the main villains for.
Yeah, it's either Nightmare or Mephisto. They kind of go hand in hand sometimes. They're very similar characters, but Mephisto is a bigger play, I think. I mean, there's also like to be in the fight with the devil. I don't know. Disney might merge Nightmare and Mephisto. They do that sometimes, where they'll merge a character into one and pick a name.
Normally
Not as a
works out,
negative
though.
thing. Yeah.
It works out for them. They've got a good vision.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Like,
like just not.
yeah, they did. Yeah, every so subtle changes. Like even with Hela, who's supposed to be Loki's daughter, but ended up being their sister, and that kind of stuff. So
Well,
it's just
Hella
Those
was
ever so
also such a
slightly.
calm character that he dropped the ball on, but that's another episode.
Wait, who?
Hella was a great villain in like
Oh
lore,
yeah.
like he killed her off. I was like, come on.
And we don't know if she's dead. She might pop back up. That's not official.
That went into. I'm sorry, my shirt's really tight. This short that comes like into. It's the only shirt that I had that matched Wanda's colors. I thought it was on theme.
I'll say Hela is not officially dead. Let me just put it that way. Oh shit.
That's Kevin Feige calling and saying it's too much.
Right.
OJ.
Too much,
Crazy.
OJ. OJ, shut up. Shut up. Thank God nobody watches the show.
I know. I'll also be in big trouble.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, that was literally like Kevin, like
I feel like you're at the front desk store right now, like buzzing people.
on this episode, out of 1 out of 10, I'm gonna get this felt like an 8.5. I felt really good about this episode. It was enough of the both worlds. Like I wasn't stuck in the whole like sitcom world the whole time, which was great. And we got to be back and forth, which because I don't think I could sit through another full sitcom episode. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna give this an 8.5, and I think it's only gonna get better.
Yeah, give it a solid 8. I feel like it's like OJ said, you have a good blend of like sitcom world, modern, but also gave me like the CGI and the action that I wanted. It also gave me a really good taste of like what we can expect from Wanda as the series goes on.
Yeah, I give it a solid 8 as well. I, like you said, Justin, I like the blend of the sitcom world and the MCU world. I like how they're kind of showing the complexities of the simple lessons that they do in sitcoms. I do like how they incorporated Quicksilver into this to get us psyched up for the next episode and where they'll go from there. Yeah, there was just a lot to appreciate in this one. So yeah, 8.
For me, I always say the episode starts off high and ends off a little in the middle or a low. This one to me started off somewhere in the middle or low and ended off on a really high note. I think everything to do in the sitcom world was great. Everything to do in the sword world was a good perspective on what was happening. Although I thought the writing was a bit weak. I thought it was a bit lazy. And I thought the acting was just average. Good enough for TV, but average. But we did in the end get one of the 2 genuinely great scenes from this show. I consider the last scene of this episode and the last scene of the first episode to be genuinely great scenes that you can watch over and over again and just admire the work being done. So I give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. Good.
Well, shit, leave it to Ethan to put his critic hat on. Jesus Christ, didn't hold back.
Look for your job, OJ.
Right? I'm sending this to Feige, see what he says about it.
Oh no, I brought my Disney cup. Please, just be nice to me.
Mouse don't play. Watch it, Ethan. All right, guys, this has been another episode of Knockturnal Movie Club. We'll be back with you next week for another episode to review WandaVision episode 6. See you later.
Awesome.